You know Sisyphus, the man condemned to push a boulder up a mountain for eternity. Every time he reaches the top, the boulder rolls back down. He walks down, picks it up, starts again, forever. Greek mythology's ultimate punishment, the symbol of futile labor, meaningless repetition, absurd suffering. That's the story you learned, the cautionary tale. Don't defy the gods or you'll end up like Sisyphus, trapped in pointless eternal struggle. But here's what they don't tell you. Sisyphus wasn't being shown his punishment. He was being shown what life actually is. The boulder, the mountain, the endless cycle, that's not a curse unique to one mythological figure. That's the structure of existence itself. You wake up, you go to work. You push the boulder of your career up the mountain, you make progress, you get the promotion, the raise, the recognition. You reach the peak, and the boulder rolls back down. The promotion creates new problems. The raise gets absorbed by inflation and lifestyle creep. The recognition fades. You're back at the bottom. Time to push again. You scroll social media, consume content, feel briefly entertained. The screen goes dark. The emptiness returns. You pick up the phone, start scrolling again. The boulder rolls. You push. You go to the gym, build muscle, get strong, feel accomplished. Then you stop for a week. The gains fade. The boulder rolls back. You start the program again. Push the weight. Climb the mountain. Again. Relationships. The same patterns, the same arguments, the same reconciliations. The boulder up, the boulder down. Again. 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 Sisyphus wasn't being punished with something foreign to human experience. He was being shown the truth we spend our entire lives trying to avoid. Life is the boulder. Existence is the mountain. And the fundamental structure of both is repetition without resolution. The difference between you and Sisyphus? He knew it was absurd. He understood the boulder would never stay at the top. He pushed anyway with full knowledge of the futility. You think your boulder is different. You think this time, with enough effort, enough optimization, enough grinding, the boulder will stay. You think you're climbing toward a summit that exists, that the repetition will eventually end in achievement, in arrival, in rest. You're wrong. And the moment you understand that, the moment you see the Sisyphean structure of modern life clearly, everything changes. Not because the boulder stops rolling, but because you stop expecting it to. Today we're going to examine why Sisyphus wasn't cursed. He was enlightened. Why modern life isn't progress toward meaning. It's repetition disguised as purpose. Why work, social media, fitness, relationships, and every other domain of contemporary existence follows the exact same pattern as that boulder rolling down the mountain. And why the philosopher Albert Camus said we must imagine Sisyphus happy, not despite the absurdity, because of it. This is the curse of Sisyphus, and you're already pushing the boulder. You just don't know it yet. Let's start with what actually happened, the real myth, not the summary. The full story of how Sisyphus ended up with the boulder. Sisyphus was the king of Corinth, not a good king, not a moral king, a clever king, the kind of clever that gets you in trouble with gods. His first crime was witnessing something he shouldn't have. Zeus, king of the gods, abducted Aegina, a river nymph, daughter of the river god Sisyphus. Zeus did what Zeus always did, took what he wanted without asking. Sisyphus searched everywhere for his daughter. Couldn't find her. Eventually came to Corinth and asked Sisyphus if he'd seen anything. Here's where Sisyphus made his choice. He could stay silent, avoid trouble, let Zeus get away with it. Instead, he told Sisyphus the truth. Zeus took your daughter. She's on that island over there. Zeus was furious. You don't expose Zeus, you don't interfere with his activities, you definitely don't help someone track down his victim. So Zeus sent Thanatos, the personification of death, to take Sisyphus to the underworld, chain him up, make him suffer. But Sisyphus was clever. When Thanatos arrived to bind him in chains, Sisyphus asked how the chains worked. Thanatos, proud of his tools, demonstrated, and Sisyphus, in that moment of demonstration, trapped Thanatos in his own chains. Death itself, chained up in Corinth. While Thanatos was imprisoned, nobody could die. Warriors fought wars, and nobody fell. Old people suffered but couldn't pass. The natural order broke. Death was supposed to be inevitable, inescapable. Sisyphus proved it wasn't. Eventually, Ares, god of war, freed Thanatos. Because war without death is pointless. What's the point of battle if nobody can be defeated permanently? Thanatos, now free, came for Sisyphus again. This time, successfully, dragged him down to the underworld. Sisyphus was dead, punished, done. Except Sisyphus had one more trick. Before he died, he told his wife not to perform the proper burial rites. Don't give offerings. Don't honor the dead. Just leave his body. When he arrived in the underworld, he went to Persephone, queen of the dead, and complained, "My wife disrespects me. She didn't perform the rites. I need to go back to the living world to scold her and make sure I'm properly honored. Then I'll return. I promise." Persephone, moved by this appeal to honor and tradition, let him go. Temporary release. Fix the burial situation. Come back. Sisyphus went back to the world of the living and refused to return. He lived a full life, grew old, eventually, inevitably, died for real. And that's when the real punishment began. The gods didn't just kill him, they gave him a task. Push a boulder up a mountain. When you reach the top, it rolls back down. Do it again. Forever. Why this punishment specifically? Why the boulder? Because Sisyphus's crimes were all about trying to escape inevitability. He exposed Zeus, trying to impose consequences on someone who believed himself above them. He chained death, trying to escape mortality. He tricked Persephone, trying to escape the finality of death even after it had claimed him. Every crime was a refusal to accept the natural order, a refusal to accept limits, a refusal to accept that some things are inevitable and cannot be overcome through cleverness. So the gods gave him a punishment that embodies perfect, inescapable inevitability. The boulder will roll down, no matter how hard you push, no matter how clever you are, no matter how much you optimize your technique. Physics is inevitable. Gravity is inevitable. The boulder rolling back down is inevitable. Push it anyway. That's the punishment, not the labor itself, but the knowledge that the labor is futile, that you will never succeed, that the mountain will never be truly climbed, that the boulder will always roll back, and you have to push it anyway, forever. With full knowledge of the futility, the gods didn't just punish Sisyphus, they forced him to confront the structure of existence itself. Effort without permanent achievement, labor without final rest, repetition without resolution. They made him see what life actually is once you strip away the comforting illusions. Now let's talk about your boulder, the one you push every Monday morning. You wake up at 6:30, or 7, or whenever your alarm screams. You didn't choose this time because you love mornings. You chose it because work starts at 9 and you need time to commute, to caffeinate, to make yourself presentable for 8 hours of labor. You push the boulder up the mountain. You sit at a desk or stand at a station or drive a route, or manage a team, or write code, or sell products, or handle customers. The specific tasks don't matter. The structure is the same. You complete tasks, projects, assignments. You push the boulder higher. Progress visible. Metrics improving. Goals approaching. Friday arrives. The week is done. The boulder reaches the peak. You've completed the projects, met the deadlines, satisfied the bosses. You feel accomplished, tired, but accomplished. The weekend passes. Sunday evening arrives. Anxiety creeps in. The boulder is already rolling back down the mountain. Monday morning, new week. New tasks, new projects, new goals. The boulder is at the bottom again. Time to push. You tell yourself this week is different. This week you'll get ahead. This week you'll finally catch up on everything. This week you'll achieve inbox 0. Clear the backlog. Finish everything so you can breathe. You won't. The boulder will roll back down. It always does. Here's what makes modern work Sisyphean in the worst way. At least Sisyphus knew the boulder would roll back. He had no illusions. The gods made the futility explicit. This is your punishment. It will never end. Push anyway. You have illusions. You have hope. You believe the boulder will stay at the top if you just push hard enough. If you just optimize your productivity. If you just work smarter, not harder. If you just get that promotion, that raise, that corner office. The boulder will stay then. Right? Wrong. Let's trace what actually happens when you get the promotion you've been pushing toward. You were in your old role for 3 years. You mastered it. The tasks became routine. The boulder felt lighter. You were efficient, comfortable. The mountain was familiar. Then you got promoted. Congratulations. You've climbed higher. New title. More money, more responsibility. The boulder just got heavier. New tasks you don't know how to do yet. New expectations you're not sure you can meet. New politics you haven't learned to navigate. You're back at the beginning of the learning curve, struggling with tasks that your predecessor made look easy. The boulder is rolling down even as you're supposedly climbing up. You work longer hours to compensate. Stay late. Come in early. Take work home. Push harder to prove you deserve the promotion. To prove you can handle it. To get the boulder back to where it was. 6 months pass. A year. You've mastered the new role. The boulder feels lighter again. You're efficient. The mountain is familiar. And you start looking at the next promotion, the next title, the next mountain. Because staying where you are feels like the boulder sitting still. And your brain interprets stillness as rolling backward. Everyone else is climbing. Your peers are getting promoted. You have to keep pushing or you're falling behind. So you push toward the next level. And the cycle repeats. This is the career ladder. This is corporate climbing. This is professional development. It's Sisyphus pushing the boulder. Except Sisyphus at least stayed on the same mountain. You keep finding new mountains to climb, each one steeper than the last, telling yourself that the next summit will be the real one. The promotion creates new responsibilities, harder boulders, steeper mountains. The raise gets absorbed by lifestyle inflation. The corner office comes with longer hours. You're still pushing. The boulder is still rolling back. And here's the cruelest part. The system is designed to make you believe you're not pushing a boulder at all. You're building a career. You're climbing the ladder. You're making progress towards something. The language is all vertical. Climbing, rising, advancing, up, up, up. The implication, if you keep going up, eventually you arrive somewhere. The top, achievement, rest. But there is no top. There's only more mountain. The ladder has no final rung. The career has no endpoint where you've done enough and can stop. Retirement, that's not rest. That's the boulder rolling all the way down and you being too old to push it back up. That's not achievement. That's exhaustion. The Sisyphean nature of modern work isn't a bug. It's a feature. The economy requires constant labor, constant consumption, constant growth. If everyone reached a point where they had enough and stopped pushing, the system collapses. So the boulder must roll back down. The work must never be finished. The goals must keep moving. You must keep pushing, and you must believe it means something. Because if you saw it clearly, if you understood your Sisyphus and the boulder will always roll back, you might stop pushing. You might question whether the mountain is worth climbing. You might ask why you're doing this at all. The system can't afford that question, so it gives you meaning, purpose, identity. You're not pushing a boulder, you're building a career. You're providing for your family. You're contributing to society. You're pursuing your passion. The boulder rolls back down every Sunday night. But you don't see it as a boulder. You see it as a fresh start, a new opportunity, another chance to prove yourself. Sisyphus had it easier. At least he knew he was in hell. Now let's talk about the boulder you push every time you unlock your phone. You open social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever platform you've chosen. The feed loads, new content, fresh posts. You scroll. A meme makes you exhale slightly harder than normal. A video captures your attention for 8 seconds. A post makes you feel something. Envy, anger, validation, connection. You scroll. More content, more posts, more videos. The feed is infinite, algorithmically generated to keep you engaged. Each scroll reveals new content calibrated to your interests, your triggers, your attention patterns. You push the boulder up the mountain. Each scroll is a push. Each post consumed is progress up the slope. You're getting somewhere. You're staying informed. You're connected. You're entertained. The phone battery dies. Or you force yourself to stop. Or you get interrupted. The screen goes dark. The boulder has reached the top. Your scrolling session is over. And immediately, the boulder rolls back down. Because nothing you just consumed matters. None of it stays with you. You can't remember most of the posts you saw 20 minutes ago. The entertainment was temporary. The information was shallow. The connection was parasocial. The boulder is at the bottom of the mountain. The feed has refreshed. New content has been posted. You pick up the phone. Start scrolling again. Push the boulder. Again. Here's what makes Digital Sisyphus worse than the original. Sisyphus pushed his boulder once per cycle. Walk down the mountain. Pick up the boulder. Push it up. It rolls down. Repeat. You push the digital boulder dozens of times per day. Hundreds of scrolls per session. Multiple sessions per hour. The cycle compresses. The repetition accelerates. Let's map what one cycle actually looks like. You wake up. Before getting out of bed, you reach for your phone. Check notifications, emails, messages, the feed. The boulder starts moving up the mountain before your feet touch the floor. Scroll. Consume. A post catches your attention. You read it. React to it. Maybe comment. Maybe share. You feel briefly engaged, connected, informed. The boulder climbs higher. More scrolling. 15 minutes have passed. You haven't gotten out of bed yet. The content blurs together. You can't remember what you saw 5 minutes ago, but you keep scrolling, the boulder keeps climbing, until something breaks the spell. You need to pee. Your alarm goes off again. Someone calls your name. You close the app. The boulder has reached the peak. Your scrolling session is over. You get up, brush your teeth, make coffee, start your day. The phone sits there, silent, for now. Then the first notification arrives. A like, a comment, a message, a news alert, something, anything. The boulder has rolled back down. Time to pick it up. You open the app, check the notification, and while you're there, might as well scroll a bit. See what's new. Catch up on what you missed in the 20 minutes since you last checked. The boulder climbs. You scroll, consume, engage. The same content loop, the same dopamine hits, the same brief sense of connection that vanishes the moment you close the app. This happens throughout the day. Before meetings, during lunch, in the bathroom, waiting in line, in bed, before sleep. The boulder rolls down. You pick it up. Push it up. It rolls down. The average person checks their phone 96 times per day, every 15 minutes. That's 96 cycles of the Sisyphean boulder. 96 times pushing content up the mountain of your attention, only to have it roll back into irrelevance. And unlike Sisyphus, who knew he was pushing a boulder, you believe you're staying informed, staying connected, taking a quick break. You're not. You're compulsively pushing a boulder that's engineered to never stay at the top. The infinite scroll guarantees it. The algorithm guarantees it. The business model guarantees it. Because if the boulder ever stayed up, if you ever felt truly satisfied by the content you consumed, you'd close the app. And the app can't monetize you if you're not scrolling. So the boulder must roll back. The feed must refresh. The content must update. The notifications must arrive. The boulder must be ready to push again. Sisyphus was punished by gods. You're punished by product designers who studied psychology to make the boulder as addictive as possible to push. And unlike Sisyphus, who knew he was pushing a boulder, you believe you're doing something purposeful. You're staying connected. You're staying informed. You're relaxing. You're taking a break. You're not. You're pushing a boulder that rolls back the moment you stop. And you know this. Deep down you know that scrolling accomplishes nothing, gives you nothing lasting, changes nothing. But you do it anyway, because the boulder is designed to be pushed. The infinite scroll is engineered to feel like progress. The algorithm makes sure the content is just engaging enough to keep you pushing, just rewarding enough to prevent you from stopping. Sisyphus had one boulder. You have a device in your pocket with infinite boulders. Each app is a mountain. Each feed is a slope. Each notification is the boulder rolling back down, demanding you pick it up and push again. And the cruelest part? You pay for the privilege. You bought the phone. You pay for the internet. You consent to the terms of service. You volunteer for this version of Sisyphean torment. At least the gods forced Sisyphus to push. You choose to pick up the boulder every time your phone buzzes. The digital boulder never stays at the top. The feed always refreshes. The content always updates. The boulder always rolls back down. And you always pick it up again. Because stopping means confronting the question Sisyphus faced. If the boulder never stays at the top, why am I pushing it? The feed doesn't want you to ask that question, so it makes sure the boulder is always ready to be pushed again. Let's talk about the relationship boulder, the one you push uphill over and over, convinced this time it'll stay. You meet someone, attraction, chemistry, connection. The early stages feel effortless. You're climbing the mountain together. The boulder is light. Progress is easy. You're in love, in lust, in the honeymoon phase where everything is new and exciting. The boulder reaches the peak. You commit. You move in together. You get married. You've arrived. You've found the one. The boulder will stay here. This is it. And then the boulder starts rolling back down. Not because the relationship is bad. Not because you chose wrong. But because relationships are Sisyphean by nature. They require constant effort to maintain, constant communication, constant compromise, constant pushing the boulder back up the mountain. The passion that came easily at the beginning, now it takes work. Date nights, trying new things, keeping attraction alive. The understanding that felt natural, now it takes effort. Actually listening, managing conflict, not falling into the same arguments about the same issues. The connection, constant maintenance, quality time, shared experiences. Preventing the slow drift into roommates who happen to sleep in the same bed. You push the boulder every day. Small pushes, gestures, words, efforts to keep the relationship at the peak. And some days, you're too tired. Some days you let the boulder roll a little. The argument doesn't get resolved. The date night gets skipped, the conversation stays surface level. The boulder rolls further down. You notice, you care, you push harder, make up, reconnect. Have the big talk where you both commit to trying harder. The boulder goes back up, until it rolls down again. This is the pattern. This is the structure. Relationships don't arrive at a stable peak and stay there. They're constant cycles of connection and disconnection, intimacy and distance. Peak and valley. The boulder up, the boulder down, push, roll, repeat. And here's what makes it Sisyphean. You enter each relationship believing this one will be different. This one will be easy. This one will stay at the peak. You've learned from past relationships, you've grown. You're more mature now. This time the boulder will stay. It won't. Not because you're doing it wrong. Not because you haven't found the right person, but because the boulder is the relationship itself, the structure of human connection over time, the natural entropy that affects all things, including love. Some people accept this. They push the boulder knowing it will roll back. They maintain their relationships with full knowledge that the effort never stops. The mountain is never truly climbed. There is no arrival point where the relationship is finished, complete, achieved. Most people don't accept this. They think the boulder rolling back means failure, means they chose wrong, means they need to find a different mountain, a different boulder, a different person. So they leave, find someone new, start pushing a new boulder up a new mountain. Honeymoon phase, easy climbing, progress, and the boulder rolls back down. Same pattern, different person, same Sisyphean structure. The only difference between the people who stay and the people who leave is whether they've accepted that the boulder will always roll back. Whether they're willing to push the same boulder up the same mountain forever, knowing that's what love actually is. Sisyphus didn't get a new boulder every cycle. He got the same one, again and again. At least he knew what he was pushing. Now let's talk about the fitness boulder, the one that rolls back the moment you stop pushing. You start working out, motivated, committed. This time you're going to get in shape. This time you're going to stick with it. The first few weeks are hard. Your muscles ache, you're sore. Progress is slow. You're pushing the boulder up a steep slope. Every workout is effort. Every meal is discipline. The mountain is unforgiving, but you keep pushing. You see results, strength increasing, weight dropping or muscle building depending on your goal, progress visible in the mirror, on the scale, in how your clothes fit. The boulder climbs higher. You're getting somewhere. You're transforming. You're becoming the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. Then life happens. You get sick. Work gets busy. You go on vacation. You skip a few workouts. Miss a few meal plans. The boulder slows. And then it rolls back down. The strength fades. The weight returns. The muscle atrophies. Within weeks, months at most, you're back where you started. The boulder is at the bottom of the mountain. Time to start again. New program, new motivation, new commitment. You push the boulder back up, make progress, see results, feel strong, and the boulder rolls back down, again. This is the fitness cycle. This is why gyms are full in January and empty in March. Why transformation posts flood social media and then disappear. Why people yo-yo between in shape and out of shape their entire lives. The boulder will not stay at the top. Your body will not maintain fitness without constant effort. The mountain will not be climbed once and finished. Fitness is Sisyphean maintenance. You push the boulder every day you work out, every meal you control, every rep you complete. The boulder climbs. And the moment you stop pushing even for a short time, the boulder rolls back down. Because your body doesn't care about your goals. It cares about homeostasis, about returning to baseline, about conserving energy. The boulder wants to roll down. Gravity is easier than climbing. Your body wants to rest, to eat freely, to not be sore, to not push, so you have to push forever. There is no summit where you arrive and can stop. There is no maintenance mode that doesn't require effort. There is only constant pushing or watching the boulder roll back. And here's what makes it worse than Sisyphus. The fitness industry sells you the illusion that the boulder will stay up. Buy this program, follow this diet, use this supplement, and you'll achieve your fitness goals and maintain them easily. You won't. The boulder will roll back. The program that worked will stop working. The diet you could follow will become unsustainable. The supplement will prove unnecessary. Because the boulder doesn't stay at the top. Ever. For anyone. Even professional athletes, people who are paid to push the boulder, have to push every single day. The moment they stop, their fitness degrades. The mountain is eternal. The boulder is eternal. The pushing is eternal. Sisyphus at least knew this. He didn't have Instagram fitness influencers telling him if he just used their boulder pushing technique, the boulder would stay up. You have an entire industry dedicated to lying to you about the nature of the mountain. So you keep pushing, keep starting new programs, keep believing this time will be different. The boulder keeps rolling back down. So why do we keep pushing? Why don't we just let the boulder stay at the bottom? Why don't we stop climbing mountains we'll never summit? The answer is psychological, biological, existential, cultural. First, we're wired for progress. Human brains are prediction machines. We feel good when we make progress toward goals. We get dopamine hits from advancement, from improvement, from moving up the mountain. This isn't a character flaw, it's evolution. Our ancestors who felt satisfaction from progress, finding food, building shelter, improving tools, survived better than those who were content with stagnation. The genes for motivation, for drive, for constant improvement got passed down. The boulder moving up feels good. Even if we know it will roll down, the act of pushing it up creates positive neurochemical feedback. We feel accomplished, productive, like we're doing something that matters. The boulder at the bottom feels bad. Stagnation triggers anxiety. Lack of progress feels like failure. Our brains interpret stillness as death. If you're not growing, you're dying. If the boulder isn't moving up, it might as well be crushing you. So we push. Not because we believe the boulder will stay, but because pushing feels better than not pushing. Because our neurochemistry rewards effort and punishes rest. The problem is that our brains evolved in an environment where progress was real. When you built a shelter, it stayed built. When you learned to make fire, you knew fire. When you killed a mammoth, you had food for weeks. Progress had permanent effects. The boulder, in ancestral terms, actually did stay at the top sometimes. Modern boulders don't work that way. The work boulder rolls down every Monday. The fitness boulder rolls down every skipped workout. The social media boulder rolls down every time the feed refreshes. But our brains haven't adapted. We still get the dopamine hit from pushing. We still feel the anxiety from stagnation. We're running ancestral software in a modern environment that hacks it. The boulder will roll down, but we're wired to push anyway. Evolution doesn't care about futility. It cares about survival. And survival for most of human history meant constant effort. We've inherited that drive, placed it in a context where the effort never results in lasting achievement, and wondered why we're all exhausted. Second, we're trapped in competitive dynamics. Even if you personally would be happy to let your boulder stay at the bottom, everyone else is pushing theirs up. Your coworkers are climbing the career mountain. Your peers are improving their fitness. Everyone on social media is presenting their boulder at the peak. This is the fundamental trap of relative success. Absolute success is impossible. The boulder rolls down. But relative success is the only metric that matters in a social species. You don't need to reach the top. You just need to be higher than the people you compare yourself to. If everyone else stopped pushing, you could stop too. But they won't. So you can't. Because stopping means falling behind. And falling behind in social terms is failure. This is the treadmill of consumption. You need to earn more money, not because more money inherently improves your life, but because everyone else is earning more, and prices are rising, and relative position matters. You need to stay fit not because fitness is inherently valuable, but because everyone on Instagram is fit, and you're comparing yourself. You need to keep scrolling not because the content matters, but because everyone else knows the memes and the news and the trends, and not knowing means social exclusion. The boulder must be pushed because everyone else is pushing. In a world of Sisyphuses, the only way to stay in place is to push as hard as everyone else. To get ahead, you have to push harder. This is zero-sum competition. No one wins. Everyone pushes boulders that roll down. But stopping means losing. So everyone keeps pushing. The tragedy is that if everyone agreed to stop, everyone would be fine. But collective action like that is impossible. Someone would defect. Someone would keep pushing and gain advantage. So everyone has to keep pushing. Sisyphus was alone on his mountain. One boulder. One man. No competition. You're on a mountain with 8 billion other people all pushing boulders. All trying to get higher. All knowing the boulders will roll down. All pushing anyway because stopping means falling behind. Third, we have hope. This is the cruelest part, the most human part. Sisyphus, in some versions of the myth, lost hope. He knew the boulder would roll down. No illusions, no false beliefs, just eternal, conscious futility. We have hope. We believe our boulder might be different. Our mountain might be climbable. Our effort might achieve something permanent. This time, the promotion will be the one that makes work bearable. This time, the relationship will be the one that stays easy. This time, the fitness program will be the one that sticks. This time, the boulder will stay at the top. Hope keeps us pushing when reason would tell us to stop. Hope makes Sisyphean existence bearable by disguising it as progress. And hope is why we suffer more than Sisyphus. He had clarity. We have delusion. We push the boulder believing we're not Sisyphus, believing our situation is different. Believing meaning can be achieved through effort. The boulder rolls down. We're surprised, disappointed, hurt. We didn't see it coming even though it always comes. Sisyphus saw it coming every time. No surprise, no disappointment, just knowledge. The boulder will roll down, pick it up, push again. Fourth, and most fundamentally, we can't stop pushing because stopping means confronting the void. If you stop pushing the work boulder, you have to face the question, what am I without my career? Who am I when I'm not productive? What's the point of existence if not economic contribution? If you stop pushing the social media boulder, you have to face actual boredom, actual solitude, actual presence without distraction. The void that infinite scroll was designed to fill. If you stop pushing the relationship boulder, you face the possibility of genuine loneliness, of connection lost, of dying alone. If you stop pushing the fitness boulder, you face aging, decline, the reality that your body is temporary and will fail regardless of how hard you push. Pushing the boulder isn't about reaching the top. It's about not having to look at what's at the bottom, the void, the meaninglessness, the fundamental absurdity of existence. Sisyphus was forced to confront this. No distractions, no hope, just a boulder, a mountain, and eternity. Nothing to do but push and think about what it all means. We push to avoid thinking about what it all means. We stay busy, we stay distracted, we keep the boulder moving so we don't have to look at the mountain and ask why we're climbing it. The boulder rolling back is merciful. It gives us something to do, something to push, a purpose, even if that purpose is futile. Without the boulder, we'd have nothing but the void. So we push. Now we arrive at the devastating twist. The thing that makes the Sisyphus myth more than just a story about futile punishment. Albert Camus, the French philosopher, wrote an essay in 1942 called The Myth of Sisyphus. In it, he analyzes the myth not as a punishment, but as a metaphor for the human condition. And he ends the essay with a sentence that inverts everything. One must imagine Sisyphus happy. Happy, not despite pushing the boulder, not because he's deluded, but genuinely happy, fulfilled, at peace. How? How can Sisyphus be happy when he's condemned to eternal futile labor? When he knows the boulder will always roll back down? When there's no achievement, no progress, no meaning to his struggle? Camus argues that Sisyphus is happy precisely because he sees the absurdity clearly. He understands that the boulder will roll down. He has no illusions, no false hope, no belief that this time will be different. And in that clarity, he finds freedom. He's not pushing the boulder because he believes it will stay at the top. He's not pushing because he hopes for reward. He's not pushing because the gods are watching and he wants to impress them. He's pushing because pushing is what he does. The boulder is his. The mountain is his. The eternal labor is his. And in accepting the absurdity, in embracing the futility, he becomes free. Free from hope. Free from disappointment. Free from the need for the boulder to be anything other than what it is. The boulder rolls down. He walks down the mountain. He picks it up. He pushes it back up. Not because he has to, because he chooses to. Because the alternative, refusing to push, doesn't change anything. The mountain is still there. The boulder is still there. He is still there. So he pushes. And in that moment of conscious choice to push a boulder he knows will roll down, he becomes more than a victim of divine punishment. He becomes the master of his fate. Camus calls this absurd heroism, the courage to see reality clearly and continue anyway. Not because continuation will achieve anything, but because that's what it means to be human, to push boulders that roll back, to climb mountains that have no summit, to create meaning in a universe that offers none. Sisyphus is happy because he's no longer waiting for the boulder to stay at the top. He's no longer hoping for release. He's no longer believing in a future where the struggle ends. He's just pushing the boulder. Present, conscious, free. Now apply that to you. What if you stopped believing your boulder will stay at the top? What if you accepted that work will never be finished, that social media will never satisfy, that relationships require eternal effort, that fitness requires eternal maintenance, What if you stopped waiting for arrival and accepted that you're always in the middle of the climb? What if you pushed the boulder knowing it will roll down, not hoping it won't, not believing you'll prevent it, just knowing? Would you still push? Camus says yes, because the alternative is worse. The alternative is sitting at the bottom of the mountain refusing to engage with the boulder while it sits there anyway. The alternative is passive suffering instead of active acceptance. Better to push the boulder knowing it's absurd than to let the boulder sit while you suffer from not pushing. Better to work knowing the work never ends than to avoid work and suffer from lack of purpose. Better to engage with social media consciously, knowing it's meaningless, than to avoid it and suffer from disconnection. Better to maintain relationships knowing they require eternal effort than to avoid them and suffer from loneliness. Better to push the fitness boulder knowing it will roll back than to let your body decay without even trying. The boulder will roll down either way. You might as well push it. That's Sisyphean happiness. Not delusion, not false hope, but clear-eyed acceptance of the absurd paired with deliberate choice to engage anyway. Sisyphus is happy because he's free from the burden of hope. He's free from the suffering caused by believing the boulder should stay up. He's free from disappointment when it rolls down. He just pushes. Because that's what he does. Because the boulder is there. Because the mountain is there. Because pushing is the act of living. You're Sisyphus. You've always been Sisyphus. The only question is whether you're a Sisyphus who suffers from the boulder rolling down, or a Sisyphus who accepts it and pushes anyway. Most people are the first kind. They push the boulder believing it will stay. It rolls down. They suffer. They despair. They wonder why life is so hard, why achievement is so temporary, why nothing ever feels finished. They're suffering because they still have hope. They still believe in arrival. They still think the mountain has a summit. A few people become the second kind. They see clearly. They understand the boulder will roll down, and they push anyway. Not because they're deluded, but because they've accepted the fundamental absurdity of existence and chosen to engage with it deliberately. Those people are free. Not free from the boulder, free from the suffering caused by believing the boulder should be different than it is. So here's the curse of Sisyphus, the one we've all inherited. We're condemned to push boulders up mountains. Work boulders, social boulders, relationship boulders, fitness boulders, meaning boulders. They will all roll back down. All of them. Always. Without exception. The only choice we have is whether we suffer from that reality or accept it. Whether we keep hoping the boulder will stay and suffer when it doesn't. Or whether we accept that the boulder rolling down is the nature of the boulder and push it anyway. Whether we're Sisyphus suffering from his punishment or Sisyphus happy in his absurd freedom. The boulder is at the bottom of the mountain. It's Monday morning. Your alarm is screaming. The work week is starting. The feed has refreshed. The relationship needs attention. The gym is waiting. The boulder is there. The mountain is there. You are there. You can refuse to push. You can despair about the futility. You can hope that this time, somehow, the boulder will stay. Or you can walk down the mountain, pick up the boulder, start pushing, knowing full well it will roll back down, knowing that's what boulders do, knowing that's what mountains are, knowing that's what life is, and push anyway, not because you're a victim, because you choose to. Subscribe to Umbral Fables as we continue to open the forbidden archives and explore the shadows of the myths that built us. This is Umbral Fables. We leave you now, not with comfort, but with questions. Look closely, the dark journey continues.